and hello everybody. I hope you can hear me well, and I would be glad if you have any questions related to immigration to Canada, send directly to the comments. If something is wrong with the sound or whatever, please inform and we will do our best to make the vision and the audio better. So today we're going to speak about immigration to Canada, frequently asked questions. We have a lot of requests, and I personally receive messages from you every day, 24/7, related to how to start the process, how to find the pathway, what program to use, what is the best place to stay in Canada, and so on and so forth. So today we will try to answer the majority of preliminary questions and direct you towards the right pathway to go further if you consider seriously the process of immigration and getting a permanent resident status in Canada. So my name is Olena Palatnik. I'm regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and I've been in practice for the last 12 years. And we have approximately from 200 to 300 clients per year. We deal with, and I personally deal with, immigration programs all over Canada, provincial nominee programs, federal skilled worker class, express entry, community-driven, religious community-driven immigration streams, employer direct streams, and stuff like that. We can say that today we have more than 70 immigration programs to Canada, and for each family and for each person in the world, there is a unique pathway. Let's say the person who immigrated a year or even a half a year ago, the procedure was different from the one that would be suitable for you personally and for your family needs. Each program has its own requirements. Each program has its own criteria of selection of the candidates. And all these things change rapidly, and the immigration changes come into force in a very dynamic procedure. We monitor every province for all these changes, and we stay up to date every day. And you can find all this information and updates and news on our website as well as on the Facebook page, and you can contact me directly finding out what's new in accordance with what you need from immigration. So the questions, I will tell the questions and I will ask the questions from the side of the clients who send it, and I will try to answer those as much as possible. So what is the beginning of the immigration process? So the first thing that you need to know is that you should find the pathway. You should find the optimal program for you and for your family members. For this, what I do, I assess your chances and evaluate your chances, considering what program is better, why it is better. We take into consideration everything connected with your background, starting from the age of 18 till present. We cover everything connected with your education, your work experience, your family status, your potential wishes, what you would like to do in Canada. And from all these points of view, and of course English language or French language, from this point of view, we assess exactly what program would be most suitable for you. When we do this, we make the written consultation. So not only I can tell you how it works and what is the best strategy for you in our Skype conversation, a personal conversation, I will also provide you with an email with the 20 pages file where you can see all the detailed information connected with the pathways possible for you, suitable for you, and applicable at the moment of consultation. Your idea, your next step is to choose either to continue servicing by me or any other immigration consultant, or with this written consultation, you are able as well to do all the paperwork yourself if you have good command of English, and you can dig into the laws and legal basis of immigration to Canada on the legal websites, and the proof links are also provided for you. So this is what is the beginning of the process. You cannot start the process just from, let's say I would like to master my English, and from that point I will try to see what is better, what is worse. No, it doesn't work like that. You must know your pathway from the very beginning. From that, you will know what level of English, what other requirements you need to satisfy in order to complete the process in 6 to 12 months. Now the immigration is quite fast. Now, let's speak about the next question. What professions are most in demand in Canada? So it depends on the region and on the province. You can find that Each province actually provides the list of occupations in demand. Each province changes it as well, like once a year at least, sometimes even faster and more often. Let's say that there are several positions that stay on the in-demand list constantly. Those are truck drivers, welders, construction workers, production workers, cooks, and a lot more and more. These positions are always available, and when we say these positions are available, we mean that there are potential employers willing to support your immigration process in case you do satisfy all other relevant program requirements, depending on the province, for example. So let's say we speak about Manitoba. Manitoba has a great list of occupations in demand. There are 135 positions right now there. So you can be a welder with no IELTS certificate, no English language whatsoever, and you will not be able to communicate with the employer. From the other hand, if you do have a, let's say, 5.4, 5.5 IELTS score, listening, reading, writing, and speaking, and you have at least, let's say, half a year to 2 to 3 years of work experience in the last 5 years related to the occupation, which is an in-demand list, you will be able to go through the immigration procedure and the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program. And we have all these kind of programs across Canada. So it is quite challenging to tell you just like that what is the best program. We need to assess each candidate and each of you independently. And from that on, we will be able to tell you what is the best procedure. We can find the employer who will be ready to support your immigration process and provide you with permanent employment upon your immigration under permanent residency status. This is not an employment as is. This is immigration procedure with support of employer in this occasion. The next question is there an opportunity and pathway to immigrate without passing IELTS examination or knowing official Canadian languages? No, there is no pathway except refugee probably, but I don't do refugee, so you will need to find someone else for that. But as for the economic streams, you need and must have English language. At different levels though, some programs have the Canadian language benchmark 4, as a level that is needed at minimum. Some have 5, some have higher, as federal skilled, for example, and express entry pathway. But anyway, you will need to know English and pass IELTS examination. Even if some programs do not require literally a level of IELTS, the immigration officer would like you to show and demonstrate that you're able, to call ambulance, to call police in Canada, to be able to communicate in some urgent circumstances. So there is no pathway whatsoever in economic programs in Canada that would be able to provide you with immigration status if you don't have IELTS results. We talk now about the principal applicants, The dependents are not obliged to pass IELTS, but sometimes it is very recommended because it makes your potential score and your candidature more compatible in comparison with other candidates. Now, the next question is, are there any guarantees of employment in Canada upon arrival? No, the government of Canada does not guarantee any kind of employment for you. Having said that, it's worth noting that Canadian government, by issuing you the permanent resident status, gives you the right to live and work anywhere in Canada on any position you want, to open your own business, to study, whatever. You can do whatever you want, as long as it's legal. Which means that, for example, you are a administrative assistant who immigrated through the province of Saskatchewan, for example, and you've been nominated by Saskatchewan. But when you arrived to Saskatchewan, you found out that you cannot get an employment of an administrative assistant being on permanent resident status. Not enough language, not enough Canadian experience, whatever, but you can. So you have different ways to overcome the issue. First, you can go and find employment in any other occupation that you think you may suit. There are some occupations that don't need experience at all. There are some occupations that are very much similar to what you've done, but they're just called in another way, and it's okay, you can get employed there. It's just upon your decision and the decision of employer. And another way is that you cannot find, if you cannot find anything in the province of destination, you're welcome to leave the province of destination and live anywhere else in Canada. So if you immigrated for the provincial program and you cannot establish yourself in that province, you are welcome to go to any other province, live there, find employment there, settle there, and stay as long as you want. And you can change these locations. It doesn't matter how many times. You are free to go because you have permanent resident status. Cassandra, the first steps I've been talking to like the last 10 minutes. So the first step is to find out the immigration program that is most suitable for you. There are around 70 and even more immigration programs right now. And yeah, I will answer your next question as well. So the first thing you need to know is that from those 70 programs, there are programs that will suit you and will not suit you. There are programs that will be too expensive or that will require too high or too low level of English, that will require specific work experience. So the first thing that I can offer you is to go through the evaluation of chances under all 70 programs. In this occasion, I will need to send you the questionnaire. You will fill in all your background information connected with your life experience, education, everything. Then I analyze the information against all the program requirements, all 70 plus, and I will recommend you the pathways. I will provide you with written and oral consultation about what program is best, what documents you should provide, what level of English is needed, what type of confirmation of work experience and education you should provide in case you want to succeed in the process. How much will it cost, Cassandra asks. Well, it depends on the program and on the volume of work. Means like I have clients who do the majority of work themselves. For example, they fill in the application forms, they get translation services from the third party, they provide all documents themselves, they find everything, they order police certificates and stuff like that. And finally, they come to me with a full, ready to apply, now ready to submit application package, and I check it. This is the cost, which takes, like from 1 to 2 hours of mine. This is not very expensive, to say so. There are pathways when the applicant comes and says, I don't want to do anything, I want you to do everything, but I want to be informed and I want to understand the process. So in this occasion, I do all the work, and I spend about 20 hours per week at least for the case during from 6 to 12 months for the whole case. So this is another pathway and another option. There are just consultations. When you just have several questions, you know the procedure, you are ready to submit yourself, but you have several specific questions that you're not very sure about, you have doubts, so you're welcome to ask. You can find all the fees of mine on my official website, www.olenapalatnik.com. They are approximate, and if you want to know for sure how much would the process cost, you will need to go through the immigration evaluation chances consultation, during which not only I will recommend you the optimal programs, but also I will calculate all estimated expenses under each and every pathway that is good for you, including all site expenses, means migration fees, permanent resident fees, medical examination fees, and stuff like that, plus what I can offer you as a servicing. It can be a partial servicing, full servicing, consultations, whatsoever. So at the end of the evaluation chances consultation, you will have a full picture. What program is best for you, how long it may take, what you should do for that, and how much money you need for the whole process of immigration, particularly in your case. There is no magic sum for that. Every case is unique, and every number is unique in this occasion. Now, let's go further. I would like to go to work to Canada, and then maybe I would like to transfer my family to Canada. Is that possible? Yes. Literally speaking, it is possible, but it is not recommended, because today to get immigration status actually is much easier than to get a work permit, because the majority of Canadian employers are looking for people with permanent resident status in Canada. So if they know that you are a foreigner and that you want to come for just several years, at least 4 years, this is a maximum, let's say from half year to 4 years to Canada to work, they would probably not be that much interested, because they know you will leave sooner or later. That's from one point of view. Another thing is that when the employer wants to get you from abroad, he needs to prove that he didn't find a similar employee in the territory of Canada, in the whole Canada. So you must have so unique expertise, skills, and experience to let the employer prove to the federal government to get the labor market impact assessment from the Canadian government that would say, okay, we see this is a unique person, you would hardly find this person in Canada, so yes, welcome, you can take him for a work permit for a specific time. When we speak about immigration, the process takes approximately the same length of time to get the permanent resident status. And when you come to the employer, he knows that there is no bureaucracy whatsoever. He just needs to either get you to this job or not. There is no getting any kind of proofs, proving anything to the government, paying governmental fees from the employer side, thinking about your allocation, nothing like that. So in the majority of cases, it is much better and it is recommended that you immigrate first to get the permanent resident status, both for you, all your family members, means like spouse and dependent children aged under 22. And you come to Canada and then you decide if you want just to work, you can just work and then come back to your home country. Also, there is a time period when you can be the first one from your family to come to Canada. It means like the principal applicant may come first, and like in some 4 to 6 approximately months, your family can accompany you and come to Canada as well after you. But the usual case and the normal case is when you come all together, if you don't like something, you always have a choice to come back or to change the location whatsoever. This is much easier. Also, when you go to Canada under work permit, you are restricted to a lot of things. You have the only right actually under work permit to work for the specific employer. This is literally called in the legal words, a closed work permit. So if you, for example, come to Canada and you don't like the employer, this is no way you can say, okay, I'm leaving, bye, and find another employer. No, you first will need to find another employer, arrange a new work permit with this employer. If he satisfies the requirements of the government, then you should get another closed work permit for the new employer, and only then you can say goodbye to the present one. This may be complicated in terms of searching and finding such new employer, in terms of getting a new work permit and stuff like that. When you are on a permanent resident status, you don't have to do all these things because you can change work, change whatever you want. You are almost a citizen of Canada. The difference between citizenship and permanent resident status, literally speaking, is in the fact that you don't have, on the permanent resident status, you don't have the advantages of visa-free stuff of Canadians. And you, as a permanent resident, you have no right to vote. All the rest is like a Canadian citizen. And on the permanent resident status, if you stay in Canada physically for 3 years, 1,095 days, in other words, you are eligible to apply for Canadian citizenship. Cassandra, you can, I can write you an email, or I can write you through the messenger to guide you through the process. And I would recommend you consider going through a chances evaluation consultation, so that I will send you the application form that you will need to fill in. Afterwards, I will be able to assess your chances and provide you with a full detailed consultation, personal one, stating exactly what steps you should take, what program is best for you. And if you would like to follow up with that, I would recommend you message me at this page in private after this webinar, and we will be able to communicate with you one-to-one. Thank you. Now, another question. There are a lot of offers on the market saying that the best pathway of immigration to Canada is through education in Canada. Is that a good one? I would say this is one of the most awful. And this is because if you are not of the education age, means like you have just, for example, graduated in your home country and you want to head and raise your qualification, skills, and education, and you are single, for example, then it's one way. And you have around 50,000 Canadian dollars, let's say so approximately, for the whole education you want to take. Then we can speak about study permit. After studying in Canada, you will get the postgraduate work permit for those who have studied for the similar period of time that you've studied usually. And when you worked a little bit on the postgraduate work permit, depending on the province and on the program you will further be able to choose, you will be able to apply in Canada for the permanent resident status and stay there. It looks like it's very easy, but the problem is, and the challenge is, to get the study permit, because the majority of people, for example, they think about immigration in their late 20s, 28 to 35 to 40, and this is not the age of the student. And usually you have kids, you have spouses, so you don't really look like a student. And if you apply as a student, you must prove that you're a student. And if the officer sees that you are more of an immigrant than a student, he would refuse you in giving you the study permit. So you will not be able to get to Canada on the study permit. I advise you not to consider this variant if you have other pathways and options. And this will just make a pathway much harder and complicated if you decide that this is the easy way. This is not the easy way if you are not of the student profile, age, and characteristics. I don't have enough points in the Federal Express Entry pool. What should I do? You should do something to improve it. That's easy. It's either your French and English language, raising the level as much as possible. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it won't help at all, because the Express Entry pathway, Express Entry profile gives you maximum points for age until 29, okay? And then it deducts the points from your score for each year you're growing up and getting old. So in this occasion, there are situations when Express Entry would not be the case for you, would not be the option at all, because even if you get inside the pool, you won't be able to raise your score and be able to compete with other people in the pool. In this occasion, again, we're coming back to the evaluation chances. It is better to find out the pathway first than to come into Express Entry, register Express Entry profile, and then see you have no enough points and sit like that. No, don't do that. Just find out the pathway first. Find out if you are okay with Express Entry and other programs or anything else, and then take steps, recommended steps, to continue the process, not to make mistakes, because sometimes these mistakes cannot be corrected at all. I have a lot of clients who come to me after they tried with other consultants, with themselves, and they made mistakes, and it is much more complicated and much more expensive to correct the mistakes. It's better not to do them at all from the very beginning. There are a lot of companies that, the next question is, there are a lot of companies that provide similar immigration services, but they are fraud. How to find the normal consultant? That's a good question. I'm a normal consultant. I'm not fraud, but this is a good question because, let's say, Philippines and Asian countries, and even Canada and Eastern European countries as well, there is a problem with a great variety of immigration companies and consultants that provide immigration services and promise you or guarantee you whatsoever result to get to Canada. So the first thing that you must know, that the regulated Canadian immigration consultant, the one with a license, has no right to guarantee the result. We're not lawyers to guarantee anything, because everything is the total discretion of immigration officer. We can guarantee the quality of work, and we can show you the quality by the experience and the feedbacks of previous clients that have been with us for years and resulted into getting to Canada as permanent residents. And the license itself, the regulated Canadian immigration consultant license, sometimes is not the only thing that you need to look at when you compare and select the immigration consultant for yourself. Because there are people that just got it, or there are people that got the immigration license 10 years ago. But if they have very small amount of clients and applications in past, the experience is small. The regulated Canadian immigration consultant program actually does not teach or give you information how to apply programs to people. They give you just general understanding of the Immigration Refugee Protection Act and regulations, and mostly how to obey license regulations of the profession. But then you get all the knowledge and all the skills through practice. So when you search for the immigration consultant, the first question you should ask is, how many years of immigration consulting experience do you have? Second question is, give me the contacts of people who immigrated with you successfully. I want to talk to them directly, and that's okay. The normal consultant will provide you with such people. Third question is, what programs the consultant specializes in? Because there are super specialists in refugee class, but they know nothing about provincial nominee programs and vice versa. So you just need to be very selective and know exactly who you need. That's the answer. Now let's go further. So, I have relatives in Canada. Is that an advantage? Yes, definitely. But we should also note the location of your relative. For example, if you have a relative, a brother or a sister in Ontario, that would make you ineligible for all other provincial programs. Because if you address, for example, to British Columbia or Alberta, saying that you want to come to these provinces, and the next question of the immigration office of the province would be, do you have any relatives outside the province? And you say, yes, I have a brother or a sister in Ontario. And in this occasion, this means that according to the statistics of each province, 99.99% of people who have relatives elsewhere, not in that province of destination, will definitely leave the province and stay and go to live to the province where their relative is settled at the moment. So that would be anyway no. If you have a relative in the province that you're looking for as an immigration destination, for example, you have an uncle, for example, in Manitoba, and you satisfy the requirements of Manitoba immigration program under the province rules, that's excellent. That will bring you additional 200 points. That's very good. And in this occasion, you would need to prove your relationship. There are some occasions when the relative moves to the province that you need. This is also an option on that. It should be done very in a proper manner, but this can be done as well. As for relatives in terms of spouses, this is another project, this is another pathway and stream. This is spousal sponsorship stuff, which means that if you have a husband or a wife in the territory of Canada, or you plan to get married, then you will have a different procedure, which gives you an opportunity not to pass IELTS examination. You don't need any language stuff. Also, you will need to prove that you actually are a couple in good standing. This is not a marriage of convenience for the purpose of immigration. But in the majority of cases, it will also take around 12 months for you to get to Canada on spousal sponsorship, and that's quite easy. If you have genuine relationship and you're able to go through a genuine interview where both of you and your spouse will be interviewed to find out whether you really love each other and know enough about each other. So how long does it take to get the evaluation of chances consultation from you? In the majority of cases, from the moment we start working with you, you pay for the services for the evaluation of chances consultation. It may take from 5 to 10 business days for me to prepare information for you. After that, I will be able to schedule the appointment with you, and we will communicate through Skype about all the programs. It may usually take from 2 to 2.5 hours of our communication. I will try to answer, and I will answer all the questions related to the issue. And afterwards, I will send you the written consultation with all the proof links and information connected with your immigration pathways to Canada. Sometimes it may take a little bit less time. It depends on the season. Also, I would like to note that only this month we have a promo for the chances evaluation. The chances evaluation consultation, the preliminary one, for me to look at your case and to offer you all types of programs that are okay for you and consult, would cost you now $50 United States dollars. If you would like to compare, you will see the standard price for the service on my website. It is $500 US dollars. This month is just the vacation period that we would like to cover as much other countries in the world that are interested in immigration to Canada as possible, and we would like to share our experience with you. I am very much interested in getting acquainted with all of you, just in order to be able to assess the chances and to recommend you the best pathway, and to help you avoid the majority of mistakes and problems you may have and make, just not because something is wrong with you, just because there is a lot of information to cover, a lot of things you need to take into consideration when you prepare your application for submission. Okay, thank you guys. If you have any other questions, you are very much welcome to write me into the messenger. You can also find all the contact details on my website and on this Facebook page. And I would be glad to reply to it and answer your questions anytime you want. And we will keep going with online webinars, collecting your most frequently asked questions and answering those. Thank you very much for your time. Hope to see you in Canada soon.